We got
Okay.
some folks hanging
I
out
didn't know.
with us.
I didn't know if we were live already or not.
Nah, not yet. We like
We
to prime
usually
it just a
we
little
usually
bit.
warn you in case you need to get a few F-bombs out ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, fuckity fuck. All right, we're good.
All right.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, Brandon, it's been like almost 100 episodes since you're on, but
Wow,
if
has it
you-
been that long?
isn't it crazy?
I don't remember. I just remember sitting in the conference room at Chicagoland Speedway,
yeah.
talking to you guys. Yeah.
Well, how ironic is it that that episode for us took place in the press box at Atlanta Motor Speedway
I
during
remember
Thursday
that.
Night Thunder?
Right?
I remember that. I remember y'all are sitting up there.
So that's pretty
Let's
cool.
see.
Yeah. The background isn't quite the same. I actually like my background a lot better. It's some high school football stories that I wrote sitting behind me, and I got my iRacing rig behind me too, which is kind of neat. So it's my own little corner over here.
That's fun. That's like your man cave, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, put some iRacing stuff in the very brief show notes that we have. It shouldn't even be called show notes. It should be called like the 10 bullet points that I'm going to probably only get to half of, and then just fart around.
It is what it is. I know I was asking you guys a lot of questions just because that's just what I do now. My well, now not my boss anymore, but my previous boss is a lawyer. So he is like the most buttoned-up guy that I know in my life, and I took a lot of stuff from him. Now I always prepare for everything like it's the most important thing in the world.
Well, and I had a massive brain fart that I thought I was talking to the race driver, and I'm like, "Hey, man, this isn't a quiz." And he's like, "Yeah, I just like to be prepared." And I'm like, "What is it you need to be prepared for?" And then it all sort of came to head, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm a moron." But my brain's been inside a fishbowl for the last 5 days or 5 working days. So
that's
apologies
okay.
for that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. That you didn't have Brandon Brown, the driver of the '86, on tonight, but. It's fun, man. Me and him, we've met quite a few times. He came up to Richmond to do like a meet and greet with some people and talk at a thing, and we've done the Spider-Man meme together on pit road.
Oh yeah,
like, hey,
pointing at each other.
And he's just a good dude, and we have a lot of fun with that. So
I've got
well, don't feel at all like you are not going to live up to expectation here. That was not where I was headed with that, but
to put an exclamation point on the Comedy of Errors stuff, I do have in my hand, if you're on YouTube, you see it, but the Brandon Brown hero card signed where he's got the 44 on the side of the truck, and they made some sort of Photoshop error, and the number 86 is on top of the truck. So
no way.
I don't think
I ever saw that before.
Hold it up a little higher, Rusty.
Oh,
yeah, yep. I can't see because I don't have YouTube up. I'm just looking at the Skype right now. So I will have to see. I will have to check that
44 and 86. You can see on top it's the 86, and on the side it's a 44, and it's signed by Mr. Brandon Brown.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
It was off camera for most of that time. That's why.
Yeah.
Plus, we're like 9 seconds behind or whatever we are on the YouTube. So I'm looking at the YouTube, but
it's fine. We do our Racing Virginia podcast every Monday, and of course he's from Virginia. We're in Virginia. Yep. We're talking about racing in Virginia, so we have to start the podcast out because it's a small podcast we're trying to grow. And it's like, hey, and I'm Brandon Brown, not the NASCAR driver, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, I go by Rusty Wallace, so I can relate a little bit.
You still have a pretty sweet job, though, within the sport.
Absolutely.
And we're definitely going to get into that tonight. So, round 2, hopefully. I should have gone back and listened to our previous episodes to make sure we don't repeat, but Rusty does a great job with the notes, so I don't think that's going to happen.
I had those notes up and everything.
That's fine.
Mostly we talked about Chicago.
If I tell a couple of the same stories, I'll probably tell it better this time.
Well, in 2 years, we've probably probably turned over our audience by a third, I would imagine.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
A few folks off, brought a few new folks in.
It's funny. I've got all these hero cards from all the 1,000 Xfinity races and everything, and all the drivers sign up and stuff. That one hero card is one I'm going to hang on to. But as I'm flipping through the rest of them, I'm like, yeah. And then I see some, I'm like, John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, he's going to be somebody.
Yeah, I might have sent that to you guys. He after he won our race at Chicagoland, I got to be really good friends with his PR lady, Courtney McGarry, who is now Bubba Wallace's PR lady at RPM. So she sent us so much John Hunter Nemechek stuff to give away. So
there it is.
That was always one of my fondest memories, because that was the first race I worked as a NASCAR employee, and he won it.
Oh, cool.
That is very cool. I think I don't know that we would have asked for you to send us something like that, because I believe we might have got him and Joe at the same time at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and then we've done a couple of those at Talladega as well. Actually, those are usually Xfinity, so we might have a hero card or him in an Xfinity car running around here somewhere too. I got a whole bunch of them at home. I need to collect up and get into an envelope so that I don't lose those because those are fun.
I'm pulling random ones just for fun, and here's Christopher Bell in the number 4 truck. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, those are cool.
And all that.
I still have a PTM sticker that I had Christopher Bell sign.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And now he's full-blown cup driver who's kind of half-ass in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Yeah, and they've really the past few weeks, that 95, they've found something. They've found a little bit extra.
Yeah, they have. And I guess Rusty wasn't with me the first time I went to Michigan, but I've been inside the Levine Hauler when Casey was their driver.
Yep.
And so that was neat. I met Bob in person, and he's been an awesome dude. He's been on our podcast before too. That guy's got stories.
No kidding.
No doubt.
No kidding. Fellas, y'all ready to get this thing rolling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's get some audio recording on the old iTunes.
Yeah, sounds good.
So we're going to disappear on you for it gets closer to a minute and a half than a minute. So when Rusty, you can't hear him anymore.
Okay.
He's doing his thing, and he can hear everything we're doing. So we just shut up for a little bit till he comes back.
Yeah, and you'll hear me. So
okay, I'll know when to talk, right?
You'll know when to talk.
Yeah. Okay,
for sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, with that, let's get started. Let me make sure I know what I'm going to say. I say the same thing 253 times in a row. You'd think I'd figure this out.
That happens.
Here we go. We're recording now. Welcome, yo! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 253. It's Wednesday, July 29th, 2020. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace. We'll bring on the rest of the crew here in a moment. Before we do, you know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie and some stickers. Best part is every cent this year, we're donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by official sponsors at the $5 and up per month level. Big Breath, Aaron Bearden, Robert Kemmler, Coleman McClain, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crock, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Rick Porter, John Bob Les Miller, Julie Bosley, Ed Greer III, Young Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Chinana, Rick Houston, Sarah Enbari, Evan Roller, Brad Harrison, Matthew Bishop, Matthew Camper, Harry Bolzania, and Evan Jones. Woo! That felt good. That felt real good. How'd that feel for everybody else? Got the old one breather in. We'll go ahead and bring him on. Co-host to the PTM Podcast Studio, reporting in from the PTM North Carolina studio, pregame engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Petey Pablo, hometown Statesville.
There it is. Petey Pablo. Have at it. And our third host tonight. He is the senior manager for NASCAR Mid-Atlantic Track Marketing. Last seen on the PTM podcast back on 154. It is now 253, so that's 99 episodes. On Twitter at Brandon Brown WV. It's Brandon Brown. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty darn well. Feeling good. Ready to talk some NASCAR. Hanging out. What else am I going to do on Wednesday night?
I have no idea. They got the NASCAR Heat thing going on right now. You can watch some virtual NASCAR.
Now, NASCAR Heat is, regardless of what people want to say about sim racing and stuff, NASCAR Heat's a video game.
Yes, NASCAR Heat is a video game.
It intends to be.
Fun one.
Yeah. I hadn't got it yet. I need to get it, and the reason I hadn't got it is because I need to block off about 2 months of my schedule so that I can play. It sounds like a lot of fun. Well, Brandon, we start the show off every time. We asked you 100 episodes ago. We're going to ask you one more time. What you drinking tonight?
Now, I remember last time, I think I was drinking water because I was at the office. Now, in quarantine life, we are no longer at the office, and I am having a Devil's Backbone Vienna Lager, proud partner of Richmond Raceway and Virginia Credit Union Live Amphitheater. So that
is a PR guy right there doing PR stuff and having himself a beer. My man, well done. Sherwin, what you got?
Well, I got to first before I tell you what I've been drinking every week is I got to give Devil's Backbone a real shout out because they actually have a spearhead on the Appalachian Trail where they will serve you a Devil's Backbone beer when you stop for a break or refreshments or a restroom or whatever while you're hiking the Appalachian Trail, which is very cool.
That is neato. Yeah. Next time I'm hiking that trail. No, I intend
So, Rusty, you remember that stainless steel cup I've got that pint-sized koozie around?
Yes, I do.
That you've probably never seen the actual stainless steel cup because I have it covered with a Red Hair, which is a brewery here. It's down in Atlanta where Rusty is, in Marietta. But that is a Devil's Backbone stainless steel cup.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like you bought a beer in that cup. You bought a pint of beer, and for $10 you got to keep the stainless steel mug. And I was like, this is going in the camp box, the race box.
Yeah, that's exactly where it lives. Yeah, I remember now. Sherwin's got a camp box that it's magical. If you need, you're like, I need a lighter. It's there. I need a spatula. It's there. I need a beer. There's probably a beer in there. I need some toilet paper. I need something to cut a cigar with. Everything. It's all there.
It's all in there. All the picnic wear, lighters, cigars. You name it. It's all in there.
Oh,
I need to get on your level.
He's got it down. Sherwin, do fill us in. What you drinking on tonight?
Oh yeah. Well, I've got a little bit of Fireball on ice, which of course I do. But I got the standard here in the styrofoam cup from Coach's, which is a little dive bar I was telling you about. It's right across the parking lot. But it's bourbon and ginger, Jim Beam White Label and ginger ale.
Well done, sir. Well, we'll raise the glasses and have us a good old show here. Brandon, I said it. 99 episodes later. Last time we talked, you were sitting in the office at Chicagoland Speedway. It is 99 episodes for us is about 2 years, which is crazy. So it's great to have you back. So what's life been over the last 100 episodes?
Oh my gosh, man, it's changed a whole lot. I went from being a digital marketing manager at Chicagoland Speedway, and in 2018, I got the opportunity to move to my home track of Richmond Raceway and become a senior manager of digital strategy there, which was a really awesome title that they gave me to do social media and digital marketing, which was pretty awesome. And then we got to do all the Richmond Raceway esports stuff and Racing Virginia and the amphitheater. Got to see a bunch of concerts for free. And with the NASCAR merger, they took all of the NASCAR or all of the track employees and did a centralization, regionalization, and I got picked up on the Mid-Atlantic team, which is now Mid-Atlantic track marketing for Richmond, Martinsville, and Darlington, and we're doing marketing strategy for those 3 tracks, which is pretty freaking cool.
Man, I got to tell you, I always love when there's somebody who the city is like, hey, you're that guy. Like, I'm an Atlanta guy, we've every time we announce a new sports team, it doesn't matter if it's mixed doubles lacrosse. I'll get the mixed doubles lacrosse hat. I'll get the T-shirt and go Atlanta. And if you're not from Atlanta, screw you. I hope your team loses. But here we are. We got a Richmond guy. You got the hat on. Tell us about the hat.
So this is the Richmond Flying Squirrels minor league baseball team, which is literally right down the road from where I live. Went to a bunch of games last year. Unfortunately, the minor league baseball season is shut down due to COVID. But I had planned on going to a bunch more games and drinking a lot more Vienna lagers there. And it's kind of disappointing, but still repping the hat, still going to rep the hat at the stadium and otherwise. So it's pretty cool.
I love it.
Well, Richmond used to be where our AAA Atlanta Braves or Richmond Braves used to play out of, and so they moved them back down closer to the city when having your AAA team right close to where the team actually plays started to become a much bigger benefit in terms of being able to be reactive.
Mm-hmm. So, Brandon, I mean, you said it, PR for Richmond, Martinsville, Darlington. Those are 3 tracks right now that are getting quite a lot of attention. What's it been like from your side?
It's been really interesting with the transition stuff. We've got to prepare for a lot of scenarios on the marketing side with preparing for if we're going to have fans at the racetrack, if we're not going to have fans at the racetrack, if something happens, if COVID gets more out of control, we've got to prepare for that, and we've got to basically create messaging assets and all of everything that you could possibly think of for all these scenarios right now, with a brand new team of people who haven't worked together before, who are working together remotely from Charlotte and Darlington and Martinsville and Richmond, and people who haven't even met each other before. So it has been it has been fun getting to know these people and working with them. I just wish we could all get in the same room together and do it up real nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What's it been like for, I mean, I guess Darlington's probably the next one, right? So Southern 500 in Labor Day weekend. What's that looking like?
Yeah, so looking like, well, I can't divulge all of the information because it's still up in the air.
Yeah.
But right now, all the races that are on the schedule are still on the schedule until further notice. And we are preparing for the Southern 500 like it will be the Southern 500, the throwback weekend, the all of the cool paint schemes, and preparing as if we have to, get that message out to everyone, make people excited about that race, whether they're coming to the race or watching on television. And that's been really fun learning even more about that racetrack because, if working at Richmond, I was just focusing on Richmond. I wasn't paying any attention to anything that was going on at Darlington until I saw it. When somebody releases a paint scheme, I got it whenever they announced it. So now I'm actually setting some strategy on how we do that.
Man, that's pretty neat. It's got to be wild times right now. How about Darlington throwback stuff? Do you get like inside scoop on any of those?
Yes.
We pride ourselves in not getting one-word answers, but I understand.
Yeah. No, and I'm not asking for them either. I love the answer. That was almost like, all right, I got to check with the lawyer right quick. He said, yes, indeed.
Yeah. So like I said, we'll work with the teams and get information from them about what they're planning, how we're trying to support that. But I'm going to leave the announcements up to the proper authorities.
Cool. You know what? I'm really curious, like what Jimmy Johnson's going to do. Seeing as how obviously last year and everything and last throwback. So I'm going to start naming some years and just blink twice. If I'm in the range. Ready? No, I'm just joking.
I think it feels like we're probably due for that like 2000 to 2005 era.
Yeah,
which would make sense for Jimmy.
I only saw one blink though.
Just remember this particular throwback weekend is supposed to be focused on honoring champions. So obviously Jimmy is a champion, a multiple-time champion. So I think he's got his pick of what he wants to do.
No kidding.
I can tell you that I have absolutely no idea about anything Jimmy Johnson has planned.
Very nice.
Interesting. I wonder which of the Hendrick cars might be running like a Kellogg's looking scheme or something for Terry Labonte. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's one of my the Terry Labonte 1994 through 1999 2000-ish scheme. That is one of my all-time favorites.
The red, yellow, white, and green. Had a little bit of green in it, if I remember correctly.
The corn flakes before he went to the frosted flakes one. That's the one right there.
That's the sauce.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Very nice. So Brandon, you've also started or are working on the podcast. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So So when I got to Richmond Raceway, one of the initiatives that they had started is called Racing Virginia, and this was before me. This got started way before me, but it's basically an initiative to bring all of the tracks around the Commonwealth of Virginia together. Tracks, drivers, messaging, make everybody talk to one another, so everybody could get their cohesive message out there and out there to the fans. So as I came in, I was doing social media for Richmond, and then I wasn't at the forefront of that initiative up until recently, when our video guy at Richmond, Vaughn Crittenden, went to become the promoter at Langley Speedway. So I jumped into the podcast role, and myself and Dave C., who is the promoter at Virginia Motor Speedway, the dirt track in Jamaica, we started the podcast back up again, and it's basically just trying to raise awareness for drivers, for tracks, for promoters across the state of Virginia. And it's been really interesting to do that podcast knowing all of the COVID stuff that's going on and all of the hardships that tracks and drivers, promoters, and everybody have been facing so far.
Yeah, that's really cool. And once you get Ward Burton on your podcast, we are going to have to ask you to put in a good message for us. Shameless plug.
Right.
Absolutely.
We'll make him. Go ahead.
He can bring his skid steer loader over and have some fun with you guys.
That's what I was going to say. The Caterpillar skid steer. That is the funniest. That is the funniest NASCAR content I believe you can find on the internet.
Oh man, it's something else. I'll listen to that every once in a while. But I mean, like we're working on having a couple of bigger names on the podcast as we move towards the NASCAR playoffs. We had Harrison Burton on a few weeks ago. He was awesome. I mean, just talk about a kid who gets all sides of racing, and that was really cool to hear his story and how he came up. And believe me, we've got the Burton connection now, and we're not going to waste it not trying to get Ward Burton on the podcast.
I tell you what, you got to.
I know.
You have him pick a passage out of an encyclopedia and just read it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm surprised. Well, he's too busy messing with snakes right now, but that's something that he should probably just do on his own Twitter account because it is amazing.
He does do some messing with some snakes.
He's like, I think I had this one tamed right here, but he's a little angry. So,
did you see that, Rusty?
I have not seen that one. It's time for me to.
Man!
Oh my God! He's holding a black rat snake, and he's talking to it, and it's like right in front of his face. He's like, I think I got this one pretty tamed up, and it strikes his phone. He's videoing with. He goes, well, maybe not.
Oh man, that sounds like. I mean, I can see it. It's not just a Ward Burton. It's just his style. It feels like.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Without a few minutes later, I think it was Jeff Burton, his brother, obviously, just quote tweeted it with, "I had to grow up with this."
I feel like I tell this story every probably 25 episodes or so I'll make it quick. But Richmond, to me and the wife go to Roller Coaster Park every year on our anniversary, and we chose Williamsburg. The Busch Gardens Williamsburg, probably 5 or 6 years ago now, and obviously driving from the airport to Williamsburg, you pass the raceway, and it's one of the only ones I feel like, because we've been to several in the southeast here, that's just in the city. It's right there. Even Vegas, you have to drive out 30, 40 minutes in the middle of the desert, but Richmond is right there, and so of course I stop and they. A security guy comes around because I walk right up to the outer gates, and security guy comes around and he's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just a big NASCAR fan, man. I just wanted to take a peek and snap some pictures." He goes, "Oh, well, how about I just let you in?" So he lets me in. I walk all the way down the stands up against the track. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this to somebody who's affiliated with the track at this point, but then I see that they've got this run what you brung pace lap thing, and I'm like, "How much is that?" And he's like, $20. Well, that's money well spent. So we go down there. I'm in a rental car, obviously. Again, I'm on vacation here, and so you sandbag back a little bit. and on the back straightaway, I think I hit 80 miles an hour at one point, and I'm screaming, NASCAR, woo! And I didn't know at the time that my wife is filming the whole thing. So she's got some funny video of me somewhere doing that. But
please put that on the Twitter account, like, soon.
If I could find it, that was probably like 3 phones ago. So who knows where that lives. Yeah. But
well, we're having track laps again on August 15th, $20 again. And you should come up and just reincarnate that video.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. And Sherwin, I know you're a lot closer than me to that, but hey, there's something to do.
Yeah.
No kidding. You know what, Rusty? I bet you Serena knows how to find that video.
She probably does. I'll figure it out somewhere. One thing I wanted to mention, so this is something that Bob Pockrass brought up, is that the trucks have a 4-race deficit right now that they need to make up, and the Cup races that are going on right now that don't have a scheduled truck race against them are Darlington, Richmond, Charlotte, Roval, Kansas, and Texas. So you would think probably 4 of those, which definitely would include a Richmond and or a Darlington. Is that something, Brandon, on your radar that y'all are discussing? And I mean, I imagine it is, and whatever you are or are not allowed to say.
I'll say that sounds like a really fun group of tracks to have some truck races at, doesn't it?
It sure does.
But I will say this: we did have that the Richmond truck race, the Toyota Care 250, which was postponed or from earlier in the season. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been canceled. So
postponed.
It is not. It has just been postponed as of right now. So.
Okay, so we have a vague response in the positive. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to just say not say enough to get in trouble with my brand new job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just do enough promotion that you don't get in trouble. You actually get a pat on the back.
Yes, absolutely. Just so I will say we were. Man, were we excited to have that truck race come back to Richmond. I know, it had been forever, like 14 years, I think, since it was at Richmond. Skinner won the last one. And we were really excited, and social media was really excited to have it back. So that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, I can't believe that that's a track that we would spend that much time away from.
Yeah.
It's
perfect truck series track. If you go back and watch some of the old races from the truck series at Richmond, I mean, you had X amount of side-by-side finishes, wrecks, people getting mad at each other. I mean, like, just awesome stuff.
Well, it's been a minute since they've raced at Darlington, I believe.
Also true.
Yeah. So between me and Sherwin, how cool would that be, Sherwin?
If what this ends up leading to is that next year we get to go to a triple header for Labor Day weekend, I'll completely forget if we have to miss some kind of football game. Because, like, Truck Xfinity End Cup at Darlington, are you kidding me? Like, and you could do it 3 nights in a row. You could do a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night race. We all make it home, watch the Monday night national football, college football game is. That's a weekend right there.
Oh man, I went to my first Southern 500 2 years ago. The one that Brad Keselowski won, and I went as a fan. Like I worked for Richmond and stuff, but I wore my throwback Rusty Wallace shirt, my Miller Genuine Draft hat, and I went as a fan, and it was absolutely amazing. And I can't imagine having 2 more races to go to like that.
I'm jealous of that hat. I bet Rusty's even more jealous of it.
Yes, sir, indeed. The other thing that you're into, the Richmond Raceway Esports, RR Esports on Twitter there. Tell us something about that.
Okay, so when I got to Richmond, they had what was called the Chaos Crew in place. And Chaos Crew was the Richmond Raceway, what is now Richmond Raceway Esports. And it was started as a marketing initiative for a younger, different kind of fan base. And they went in and sponsored a few cars in what's now the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, which was the Peak Series back then. I say back then, that was a year ago.
Feels like a decade.
Yeah, it really does. So I came in and they, as the social media guy, they adopted me into the esports family because I if you can see behind me, I got my sim seat sitting there with my wheel and all my good stuff.
Yeah.
Because I had iRacing, and they're like, "You're an iRacer? You can come hang out with us and do the esports marketing stuff too." So I got to do all the content, and then leading into that, and now we've got two drivers, Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak, who race in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Jimmy won at New Hampshire a few weekends ago, and Zach's a defending series champion. So we got a couple of good ones. And we just started to grow that as a platform and added two new drivers as quote unquote development drivers who race in all sorts of stuff on iRacing. Garrett Maines and Raja Karuth to do content for us and to build their brands and help them, and signed partners like Sunoco and actually signed Coca-Cola to our program too. So it's just really fun to be able to get to know those guys and have this initiative that really took off this year, and to be one of the most recognized brands in that little bubble, if you will.
That's really neat, and it sounds, regardless of where you stand on it, it sounds like a ton of fun to be involved in, at least,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the community, again, you can, especially when we had the Pro Invitational Series that was during the time of no actual racing.
Mm-hmm.
You had people on both sides of that. Well, they shouldn't be doing this, or people they're treating it like real racing and all that stuff. And that's another discussion entirely. But in this world, it is amazing to see the money and support and time that NASCAR itself has put behind esports, and to be a part of that community, meeting all the drivers and the people who paint the cars and the people who do the racing podcasts and the Twitch streamers and all the stuff has just been really, really neat to be a part of.
Right on. Well, fellas, let's go ahead and tear it down. Here it comes. I might have clipped that a little short, but whatever. The report card, first period. Let's talk about Kansas a little bit. Bit of a wreck fest mid-race there, and one bit scary wreck, I would say. But everybody walking away from that. Denny taking the checkered there. I feel like I kind of got to give like a half horn blow to Kelly Sherwin, because she said Harvick, and then she said SHR is going to be good. Denny will probably be up there too. So. There's I'll call it a half one. I'm not going to play it, but it was.
Yeah, she did kind of. Yeah, she was all over it. At least from a top three perspective, for sure.
Yeah, Brandon, your takeaways from that race.
Well, first, I was really surprised. My first takeaway was I was really surprised that when Harvick got out front, he didn't drive away. I was surprised well, not really surprised at how strong Denny was, because Denny's been strong all year, but going up and just passing Harvick and getting away from him, and that was my first takeaway. Second was the fact that Ryan Preece jumped out of that car and put his mask on and looked about as pissed as you possibly could. But unfazed, just mad that he got turned after having a decent run. So Kansas is always pretty fun race, no matter what package that they got, though.
Yeah, Kansas has actually been a great racetrack for a solid period of time, and I want to interject something here, Rusty, that I know I didn't tell you to put into the notes. I talked to a friend of ours, Dwayne Miller, over the road truck driver, and he asked me about Kyle Busch last night. And he said, do you think that they have enough patience over on the 18 team, not having the wins yet, but obviously having a relatively fast car, that they are testing right now since they don't have practice? And I thought, wow, that is a really interesting question.
It's an interesting
question. I told him
question.
Yes. I said, I think they do have that kind of patience. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't know if either one of the two of you want to speak to that.
I'll tell you this. Maybe there's 99 people in the JGR camp who might have the patience, but the 100th one is the one behind the wheel that might not. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think he's still going to be upset if he doesn't finish well. I just think, I thought it was a very thought-provoking question to ask. Like, wow, I never even thought about that. I mean, maybe he's this year's Tony Stewart or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with it being a great question. I'm wondering how you can possibly try to tame. I mean, obviously you can try out different stuff, but Kyle Busch is. I guess maybe that is a good strategy call. Then give him something different, see what happens. He's going to drive the wheels off of it. So you'll get the best possible outcome from it, and get some data out of it. I don't know. So with Denny winning, I think that was like his 5th race this year, and we're something like right at halfway. If you're talking about all the races, the last person to win double-digit races was Jimmy Johnson in 2007. If my research is up to snuff, which means if I copy pasted what Jeff Gluck said correctly.
Sounds right. I trust Jeff.
Yeah, he won 10 and Jeff won 6, and Hendrick overall won 18.
Yeah. Do you think
they won half, just like Gibbs last year? They won half the races that year.
Right. Do you think we're looking at that between? Well, first off, for Denny himself, could we be looking at a 10-win season? And then second, with SHR, looking at winning half the races.
I think it's probably more likely that Gibbs does it just because of their historical performance. I mean, like Cole's win was pretty freaking amazing, but it was also a little bit fluky because he got that amazing run on the restart, and I don't expect him to go out and dominate and win a race, say like Harvick is. But you got to look at Kyle has the ability to win any week with his talent if they give him a good car. Eric Jones can pop up and win, and Truex can win any race. I don't think the Stewart or Haas stable has that firepower. And I'll probably be completely wrong about this as a race analyst, but I think it's more likely that Gibbs is gonna do that rather than Stewart Haas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think you look to Almirola, and of course everybody has kind of said, well, Clint's on his way out. He's already got basically signed a contract with Fox, but he hasn't announced he's retiring, so he's at least racing next year. But Almirola, what did he get, 9 straight top 10s?
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, even though none of them were wins.
It's true. He's kind of having like that the Truex and he are having a very similar season in that they're always running really well but haven't closed the deal. Was Truex have 1 win this year? Yeah, he won at Martinsville. Or at Martinsville. That was before I was marketing for that track, so I ignored that. It's interesting to see, like, if Eric could get that car in victory lane, they could be dangerous.
Yeah. And Sherwin, I love the stat that you brought up there because it's definitely and the parallels that Brandon brought up with Truex, although Truex has a win. But I mean, these are guys who week to week you can search the news or whatever you want. You're not going to find anything about them because they're running 8th, 9th, 7th, whatever it is. But if they keep running 8th, 9th, 7th, etc., what do we always talk about with the playoffs? Playoffs is first 2 rounds at least are just survival. Just don't mess up. And
and Truex is a damn good road racer, so I'm sure we'll get to Daytona later. But
yeah, absolutely. On to second period, Sherwin. I know you're going to be excited. I know I'm excited about this. Brad Doherty back in the booth with NBC. How cool is that?
I think it's awesome. I love Brad. I love his perspective. He's a North Carolina boy, grew up a Richard Petty fan, and he was an all-star NBA player, and he played at the University of North Carolina. There is no better fit than having a race owner like that be on the preview and post-view portion of the desk, as they say, for NASCAR for NBC's coverage.
Yeah. Brandon, are you as pumped as we are?
Yeah, Brett. He was awesome back. I keep saying back in the day. It wasn't that long ago that he was an analyst. So I'm really excited to have him back. I remember he offered a really good perspective on things, and I'm interested to see what he brings to the table moving forward. I want to hear more about what his perspective on running, say, a mid-level team,
yes,
and the difficulties that they're having, and that perspective as well. Because I know I always like listening to Dale talk about his own teams. I want to hear Brad talk about the same.
Yeah. I want to hear Brad talk about what it's like running two teams now, because we didn't hear much from Brad when ESPN exited the sport, because they only had the one team then, and they won. And I can remember, Allmendinger like jumping off his car, and that's probably the highest he's ever been off the ground when he wasn't in an airplane.
Yeah.
When Brad lifted him over his head like he was a child.
Doing the Lion King. Oh, man.
It's a circle line.
Speaking of, so this is a total detour here, but there is some like animated GIF thing that's gone around. I'm probably like way late to the party here, but I must have laughed for 20 minutes straight and couldn't get no work done because somebody edited it so that orangutan, I guess what it was, that goes out and holds the baby lion over the kingdom or whatever it is.
And it was the baboon.
Yeah, the baboon.
Yeah.
Well, they edited it, and it looks perfectly perfect. He holds it out, and then over his head, like he's doing an overhead pass, and chunks the baby into the whole pit. It is the funniest thing you've ever seen, dude. You got to see that. I don't know what, because I was expecting, because somebody had just put it in like one of our chats as a reaction, and I was just expecting him to stop there, but then he puts it over his head and overhead passes it, probably throws it 40 yards. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So if you haven't seen it, go out and check that one out. It's about 3 seconds of hilarity. With that, we'll go to third period here, talking about trucks and Xfinity. They're moving forward with that thing that it feels like all the petty things that we were talking about before all the quarantine and COVID and everything hits. But if we recall, they had this whole new pit stop trials that they're doing, and they're moving forward with it now at Road America and Gateway as a reminder to ourselves and everyone else. Essentially, it's fewer crew members over the wall. There's no loss of position in the pits unless you take like over 60 or 90 seconds or something like that. And then the big one, kind of like they had whatever it was 10 years ago or so, you can only change 2 tires and get fuel. If you want 4 tires, you got to do a second pit stop. And then they do line people up based on whether they didn't take a pit stop, did take 1 pit stop, or 2 pit stops, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, wanted to get some, now that it's a fresh topic, let's talk about it a little bit. Sherwin, what do you think?
I want to see it. I really do. I've gotten a lot more open-minded as we've had all these different things change what our perspective of what this sport can and cannot be. I kind of like the idea, and at the end of the day, bottom line is we want as many, good cars to show up to these races as possible. And if having to hire a Cup pit crew or a Cup development pit crew to come down and pit your truck or pit your Xfinity car is the end all be all to an opportunity to win a race, that's going to preclude a lot of teams that have smaller budgets from even being in the mix. So it would be interesting to see, especially at some of these races like a road course or a Gateway that's only 7/8 of a mile. That kind of puts it puts a lot more onus on the driver and the crew chief in that respect to make good adjustments, but a lot more onus on the driver to run a good race because he knows he's not going to lose spots in the pits. And so all the spots are to be gained and lost on the racetrack.
Yeah. Well, and strategy-wise, do I take nothing? Do I take 2 tires, or do I take 4? And where's that going to put me? And how confident am I that I can make that up? And what is everybody else ahead of me doing? And what do I think the people are behind me doing? This also kind of parallels from what I've been reading, what some of the maybe not as much dirt tracks, because I mean that's just short kind of race, but some of the short tracks are doing and local tracks, and we're experimenting that with the like choose cone and stuff like that. So it feels like a let's get back to roots. Let's talk about what people are doing in the community and in the short track stuff, and try to emulate it here. Brandon, what do you think?
Yep, I was just getting ready to say that I was a couple weekends ago. I was at the Hampton Heat at Langley Speedway down in Hampton Roads, Virginia. 200-lap race, and they had a break at halfway, and they had a break at 150, and that's what the drivers did. You came in and you pitted your car, and you went back out, and you could choose not to pit. You could choose to pit. But the pit stops were not live pit stops. And you know what? Strategy was involved. It was still fun to watch. You had drivers who were fast go behind drivers who were slow and didn't take tires, and you had to maneuver around. So I think it just adds another element of strategy to it. And the crew chiefs that think the best on their feet are going to do the best at these particular races.
Yeah, 100% on that. I mean, that to me, this is what's going to separate the crew chiefs that are going to have an opportunity to eventually make it to Cup, or make it up from trucks to Xfinity and kind of progress up the ladder. Can you read enough into the tea leaves of what's going on? Because they have access to everything. I mean, now with all the data, and they listen to 9,000 radios, and they know what everybody's doing. And they're saying, you know what, my guy's good on this age tires. We're going to stay out, or we're just going to take the 2 and we're going to get the fuel, and we're going to run it to the end. And because we know, at least in these 2 series, there's going to be some crashing, which means that's going to shake up the order. And I don't know how often they're going to let them pit. I think that will be the interesting thing to see is, are you going to be able to pit every time there's a caution? I would say they probably should limit that to some degree. And I don't know how you do it and be fair. But that might be the way that you introduce yet another variable to the strategy is you're not, if we get a caution within 10 laps of the last time we took a timeout, nobody can pit. Or, you know what I mean? Or like you go all the way to the back if you decide to come in and get tires. And so it sort of eliminates that situation where a team that has so much money, they don't really care how many tires they burn up at $2,000 a set. So I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, that's a good point too. When we're talking about how many tires you brung, how many you got to buy, and all that stuff. Yeah, I really like Sherwin what you were saying about the kind of great equalizer here. And didn't they say like you can't bring Cup crew members too, or something like that? What was the deal there? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
No, I think what it is. I'm reading it right here, and I'm not going to miss it. But I think it is that you can't have full-time Cup crews even pitting your car, even though the pit stops aren't going to be live.
Yeah, wow.
Might be wrong on that. Don't think I am, but I might be.
If that's the case, let's just assume that it is, just for the sake of conversation. I like that idea because, as you see out in the ether that is NASCAR Twitter, people talking about like, well, why are they allowed to have pay a Cup team, either a development team or an actual Cup pit crew to come pit their car? And it's like, well, those guys have to develop too. Like you develop a crew chief, you develop a driver, you develop a pit crew. Like there is a development process. This is very much like baseball in that you don't show up on day one at Hendrick's, combine, and then all of a sudden you're pitting Jimmy Johnson or Chase Elliott's car, or Kyle Busch's or Denny Hamlin's or, Kevin Harvick's. You have to go through a process of you've gotten this right so many times, we're going to move you up. And so you have to have a process in there to where you backfill, because eventually you're going to age yourself out of being a pit crew member. Just like you age yourself out as a driver, it takes a lot longer to age out as a crew chief, I would imagine, because you're not really doing a lot of physical effort type stuff. But you still have to develop the entire team. And I think by pushing those guys maybe away a little bit at some of the races, I think at some of the races it's good to have them because, the development crews that don't really get any, they're not first team, they're second or third or maybe even fourth team, depending on how big the team is. You got to give them a chance to like learn how to do this thing real time, because the only way you can really learn how to be a competitive athlete is to be under stress.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, real time reps.
Yeah. Fellas, let's talk playoffs.
Playoffs.
As of right now, we got Boyer, Burrito, and Byron. They're in. Reddick, Jones, and Johnson on the bubble. Who do you like, Sherwin?
I think based on overall team performance, I would say Boyer and Byron. I think Reddick is probably the guy that is going to snag a win amongst those three that are on the bubble. He looks kind of poised, and the Childress squad they've put enough speed together to make you think, okay, now I would say just like Custer's win, that Dillon's win was very much a function of multiple late race cautions, and we know that restarts get a little bit nuts right now with this lower horsepower package, and things can get weird. But Reddick seems to show speed every week as long as he doesn't hit the wall too hard. He's going to hit the wall every week that you can run the high line, but as long as he doesn't hit it too hard, he seems to be traveling quite quickly.
I feel like here's the thing. I'm not sure Boyer has shown it, and I'm going the very opposite of what yours was and saying DiBenedetto, if he can shake this monkey off his back with the finishes he's had lately, it just goes to show. I mean, he's still not comfortably in, obviously, on the bubble, but he has the ability to stay up there. I wouldn't put it out of Byron's reach either, for sure. I feel like Jimmy, I keep picking him half of these races too. Like, This is the one. It's hard to say. And I could see, I definitely agree with you, Sherwin, about Reddick. I feel like Jones isn't that far off from a win either.
Yeah, well, I think as far as Jimmy goes, this is probably just an in the moment. This is our era of being fans. And this is no slight at all to Darrell Waltrip or to Bobby Allison, but I would love to see Jimmy get that 85th win and just sort of separate himself from those two guys and be in a place all of his own at 85 wins. Because at the end of the day, I think if anything continues on any kind of trajectory for Kyle Busch is going to wander up into that territory of being somewhere around Jeff Gordon. But I want to see Jimmy win his last year out. Maybe I'm just rooting for it as a fan. Like, he's such a good dude, and we got more to talk about him later. But maybe I'm just letting some bias creep in there on me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of bias towards Boyer too, because I love Boyer. But I don't know. Eventually, he's got to lean on that team, and got to figure out why those other guys are going so fast, and he's kind of wandering around as the fourth car right now, really.
Yeah. Brandon, who you got?
Yeah, I think. All right. I'm going to preface this by saying nobody new wins. If nobody new wins, I would flip Byron and Jimmy, and that's your playoff field right now. DiBenedetto stays in because he can't have this crap luck over and over again. 2 weeks in a row. He could have finished easily top 5 at Texas. Was on trajectory to get like a third place finish there, and you never know with the restarts and stuff. But he had a top 10 car at Kansas, so DiBenedetto gets in without crap luck, and I think Jimmy's team pulls it together. He was running good, has had some crappy luck, and got out of the groove at Texas, and some other stuff happened. And obviously missed Indianapolis with COVID. Right. So I think he makes it up there. But I keep looking at the Daytona road course and the Daytona not road course. And what if Stenhouse gets a win? What if Bubba gets a win? Then who the hell knows?
Yeah. No, that's
these things these truths we hold to be self-evident.
Yeah,
as they say.
Yeah. No, I love it, and I mean that you could go on with that list in terms of folks who could, just
John Hunter, if he didn't get punted, could have passed on the outside and won Talladega too.
Right, yeah. Like I said, you could add to that list quite a bit for those tracks too. It's a crapshoot there. Although we're starting to see Chase Elliott as one of those road course ringer styles. It feels like, and he's doing so well on the super speedways too. Could see some big stuff happen out of that team.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason why he's not the favorite going into the Daytona Road Course, based on his performance at the Roval.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, he's early in his career, only being 24 years old. And people will bash on me probably for being a homer, but he's knocked out some of the harder places to win at, like early in his career. Like you see the Jimmies and the Kyles, they've won 1 billion races at 1.5 miles. Well, Chase really hadn't done that yet so much. He's won at some super technical racetracks and has led at a lot of super technical racetracks. So, I mean, that bodes well for his future, even if it's not this year.
Yeah. Love it. Into fifth period, Cole Pern, just out of nowhere. He's been added as an Indy 500 engineer for Ed Carpenter Racing. And he was just saying how excited he was to do this and blah, 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 blah. I guess I'm a little surprised in that it felt like he was just taking his football going home, but he's still got some significant racing in his future. Pretty cool news for me. Brandon, what do you think?
I thought that was really surprising because I thought he was just running a ski resort now or something like that up in Canada. So I mean, somebody that good, somebody that smart, if that opportunity was presented to him, it's my understanding a one-off for the working towards and up to the Indianapolis 500. Doesn't surprise me at all that he's taken it, and I think that he will jump in there and significantly improve the performance of that team. And it's going to be fun to watch. Just another storyline going into Indy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rusty. What I was going to say is, and you may have been getting to this, and I may be interrupting you and stealing your thunder, but
nope.
Bob Pockers tweeted out today, he said, so how freaking cool would it be if Jimmy showed up for the Indy, either the road course or the 500 next year, with Cole Pern as his lead engineer?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
That's a blow your mind kind of
mind
thing.
Blown.
Yeah. I was actually going to say that Cole Pern is full of surprise but not surprise stuff, right? His retirement, I mean, he was pretty openly like, I hate North Carolina. I'm out of here. Okay, well, take your football, go home. But this one is more like, I'm Cole Pern. I love racing. I'm just going to go do Indy 500. Like, well, that's surprising, but not surprising, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're never mind the fact that he's only 35 years old.
Right.
Like he's young.
Yeah. So, you'll get bored at home for sure.
Yeah. I mean, COVID must have done a number on him. He got cabin fever, and now he's going to run the Indy 500.
Right.
Yeah, he's been up in the a place that's really easy to isolate. I think he's either in Calgary or Edmonton, but either way, it's the same province.
Yeah.
He's out in the middle of nowhere.
Sherwin, you mentioned it already, but Jimmy, not just running Indy, but apparently impressing some folks at Indy in his testing. A lot of positive remarks coming out of other folks and from him. He's just saying, man, this is so cool. This is so much fun. Love what's going on here. Is there a future here? I mean, I'm not talking about IndyCar champion Jimmy Johnson, but, it might be, it feels like it could be more than just an exhibition race here or there.
Well, I think he tried to make it very clear to all of us that he was not retiring from racing. And we kind of sort of figured that out when he did that ride swap with Alonso and raced a Formula One car. And they were like, wow, Jimmy actually can make this Formula One car boogie a little bit. And now he's made an IndyCar boogie a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he try to qualify for next year's Indy 500?
Right? Oh, man. How hard do I want to be at that race?
And he's got support of Ganassi. So, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, there's money and good cars abound.
And I mean, you saw a few years ago, you saw how good Kurt did just jumping in there and doing it. Think if Jimmy has the amount of time to prepare for that race, what he could do, or prepare for several races.
Yeah. Here's something I wanted to talk to you about, Brandon. Is so Paul Tracy, 31-time kart and Indy winner. Speaking of Indy, driving has announced he's driving this SRX series that we learned about, a few weeks ago, with Tony Stewart's backing and CBS, and sounds like it's got some NASCAR backing for that matter. Of course,
well, Ray Evernham is all up in that thing too.
Yeah, and so one of their big things is we want to have the the IROC of short tracks, if you will. Well, when I'm sitting here looking at the resume for Brandon, I'm curious, Brandon. Again, 2 blinks or no blink or whatever it is, but how much can you talk about, or how much have y'all talked SRX?
Oh man, I will say that we as our group haven't talked about it at all.
Okay.
I will say that tracks in Virginia, the local short tracks, mind you, from what I've heard, why wouldn't you want to have an SRX race at Langley Speedway or South Boston, which South Boston put on some of the most awesome bush races that you've seen back in the day. So why wouldn't you want to have those races at those tracks, but then also potentially at a Richmond or at a Martinsville on a weekend where we're not hosting Cup or IndyCar?
Well, you got to have Martinsville. Yeah. I mean, that's just got to be in the cards. Under the lights on a Saturday night. Let's make it happen. Come on, whoever's listening, if anybody important is listening besides Brandon, please.
Yeah. Remember, I have no pull in actually getting the series there. It's just if they sign the series to come to the track, then I got to figure out how to get folks to the track. And for that series, it doesn't sound like it would be that difficult to get people interested in it because it sounds awesome.
Well, Inception.
I know a couple of guys that wouldn't mind doing a little bit of fan-based media activity or something like that.
I'm sure if you came up for the event, we could get you taken care of.
You don't have to be an influencer in this. All it needs is the suggestion, thrown around enough.
Just enthusiasm.
I was calling it like Inception. Make it sound like
spots in the press box.
Make it sound like it was their idea, right?
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do.
Right,
that's absolutely what you have to do.
Oh, short track. So y'all are coming to Martinsville. That's awesome.
Yep. So, of course, as a race fan, I can speak to it as a race fan because, like I said, I don't have any information either way. But as a race fan, like I love the IROC series. Watching that as a kid,
yes.
All the cars, the same body, different colors, the names on the side of all of the stuff for IROC. If they mimic that as much as they can with this series, I think it'll be a success because it'd be fun to watch.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, and I'm going to interject again, Rusty. Sorry, because I know this isn't in the show sheet that I'm currently reading right now. But Robbie Gordon was on Dale Jr.'s podcast this week, and he was talking about his super trucks and all the different series that he's put together around OTVs and super trucks and the various and sundry things that they're doing as almost like a franchise type opportunity where Robbie Gordon and his company, they build the trucks. And then they give them to the teams that have decided they want to play that year. And then he hands over all of the competition direction to somebody else. So he doesn't even get mad when they tear trucks up. Like he's like, we just build trucks. That's what we do. But the thing that was so interesting to me was him talking about those kart/Indy separation days in the mid-90s. He said they went around California at an average speed of 253 miles an hour. When Indy broke away from kart and they decided they were going to do a mostly oval series, that car weighed 1,300 pounds and had 1,300 horsepower. So for those listening at home, the difference between then and now is the car still weighs only about 1,600 pounds, but only has about 600 horsepower. But they were doing average lap speeds of 253 miles an hour in the mid-90s at a track like California.
That is, I don't even know what that number is.
How freaking bonkers! That's a drag race.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
Yeah, no kidding.
Around the freaking oval.
I can't. Can you imagine the massive cojones that you have to hold it wide open at that speed around California by yourself? Not just think about with other cars on it.
How about
the reason why Indy had to leave Nashville Superspeedway, which sounds like we're going back to in the at least at some level in the NASCAR National Touring Series, is they left Nashville because the guys were pulling so much G's in qualifying that guys were like passing out entering turn 3. They were like borderline passing out.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Because it's
like a ride with the Blue Angels.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
right.
You got to do the breathing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine all right, we're here at the California 500, and an hour and 48 minutes later, we're all done here.
Yeah.
Good grief.
That included 4 pit stops.
Thanks for coming. Drive home safe.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's bonkers. Yeah, I guess that's one thing. We're trying to put on a 3-hour show here, fellas. Don't think we can do this.
You'd have to have like the halftime break, like the Truck Series used to. They bring them down pit road. You'd have like a picnic in the middle of the race or something to lengthen it.
Yeah. Tea time or something like they do in the.
Back in the old Skinner days.
Yeah.
Right. Well, sure, and something close to home for us. ACC has officially announced they're going to try to play football. So we're going to try to go to a game at some point, maybe. I don't even know at this point. But, it sounds like we're shaping up to have a football season.
Yeah. Well, and I was telling Brandon earlier today that I had seen a thing that, they're going to play all of the Olympic sports, too, that happen in the fall. Mm-hmm. So that means, cross country and field hockey and volleyball and soccer. That's the ACC's plan.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, that's a bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
ESPN the Ocho, baby.
I guess it just depends on how. Again, it comes down to personal responsibility. Your responsibility to yourself and the group. You saw where the what was it, the baseball team that got a bunch of players sick. They went out in the middle of the city for like a day. So
Marlins.
If half the team doesn't take responsibility, you might not be having any seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I was texting with a buddy of mine today that's a huge Braves fan like we are, and I was like, man, if you're the Marlins and you're sitting there in the hotbed, I mean, the Everglades probably had COVID 10 years ago and nobody even knew, because that's such a melting pot of nonsense. Nile crocodiles and Burmese python. I mean, that place is nuts.
Somebody's eating a bat.
Why didn't they just move to Arizona and just rent out a cactus league, and just say, all right, we're going to play out west this time.
Yeah.
You guys figure out who's going to come east to make it all work. And they should have never played in South Florida. That should have never happened.
But what I wonder, like the NBA, they did a bubble. The NHL did a bubble. MLB was like, yeah, just do what you want.
Well, actually, what's funny is the NFL's even worse. They're way more like, we're going to see what happens. Whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think NASCAR, of course, is much different than any of the other sports, but I think they did it really, really well.
NASCAR did it fantastically, but I think one of the benefits that we have is that the majority of the money that is inputted in the sport is related to commercial marketing and the TV money that's associated with it. So that helps. And then on another note, what I would say is former Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Brian Finneran has agreed to be on the podcast.
Booyah!
So we're going to talk some NFL here in a few weeks for sure.
Damn right, NASCAR.
There we go. That's NASCAR, baby. Woo! Fellas, let's gas it up. Here we go. And there's the cue. New Hampshire They're announcing 12 to 18,000 fans, something like that. I see two different numbers as I'm scrolling around, but gonna have some fans in the stands. See how it goes. We'll see what happens. But either way, we continue racing, and I'm excited about the race. Should be fun, Sherwin.
Yeah, well, so for those keeping score at home, New Hampshire holds almost 100,000 people. So to only have 12 to 18K means they're going to be able to space them out really well.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they're going to decide who gets to have those tickets, but I suspect that whatever the maximum amount that they're going to allot, that they're going to be there, and they're going to be scatterbombed around the whole arena there. Because it's almost a full stadium there at Loudon too, like it is at Martinsville, and not quite like Bristol, but and even Richmond is almost a full boat stadium like college football stadiums are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brandon, what are you looking forward to?
I'm in life or in the. I'm just messing. They're doing the low downforce package at New Hampshire, aren't they?
They better be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last year's race was fun with the high downforce package. The Hamlin and Harvick beating the hell out of each other coming along. That was a good time. So I expect with the low downforce package to have a really good fun race at New Hampshire. People give New Hampshire crap a lot, but I like watching the flat track there. I expect Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick to be fast once again. That's not going on too much big of a limb.
Right.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, Sherman.
Oh, what I was going to say is, just for anybody out there, I don't want to be elementary to anybody like we're like some kind of TV broadcast, but the reason why we call Loudon a flat track is one end's only 4 degrees bank and one end, the other end is only 7 degrees banking. So it is very flat for a mile. It's very much a drag race up and down the back and front straightaways, just like Martinsville. It's just twice as big. And, I hope they don't put down the PJ1. I don't want to see that. And I think it's going to be fun. The thing I think that's kind of ridiculous that NASCAR continues to try to do over and over and over is build the word rivalry. It sounds like they don't understand what the definition of that word is, because a rivalry. Is this Bugs Bunny? A rivalry is something that encompasses a lot of years of interaction. We had one crazy race with Hamlin and Harvick. That is not a rivalry. That is one really awesome finish to a race. That's what that is.
Yeah. Fellas, let's close this thing out and do some picks. We always let our guests have the first one. So, Brandon, why don't you give us a pick for New Hampshire?
All right. I said Hamlin and Harvick are going to be fast. I think that is true. But I am going to go with the guy who won the last really flat track race at Martinsville, Mr. Martin Truex Jr. He's going to win it.
All right.
Well done. Well, Sherwin, last week, Kelly picked Harvick, who finished fourth. She said Denny will be good. He finished first. You picked Truex, who finished third. I picked Logano, who finished 35th. So,
sounds like you get to go first.
I'm up to bat here.
Ahead of me, anyway.
So, I agree with obviously everybody. Harvick's fast. Hamlin's fast. Kyle Busch has had success here. I'm reaching a little bit deeper, a little bit back. Let's go back 4 or 5 years and see who's on the leaderboard there, and that is Mr. Matt Kenseth. So it's time for a Kenseth run for me.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, I like it. With the Ganassi cars are a little bit better than what Roush was. And Matt, Kenseth would always talk about how when he was with Roush, he just thought he sucked at Loudon and or Martinsville. But then he realized that it's actually Roush that sucks at those racetracks.
Question, how much were you all rooting for him at Indianapolis to win that race?
Like, I was hands under
cheered.
couch.
I definitely would have cheered.
Yeah. I was hands under couch ready to flip it. I was that would have been neat.
So for me, I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney.
Young Blaney.
Okay.
How long do we get to call him that? I don't know, but either way,
I don't know. He's 26 now, and he just announced his girlfriend on Instagram, who is a Hooters model. So good for him.
Yeah. I think if he marries her, once he gets married, you take the Y off the YRB. Is that a fair compromise?
Works for me.
I think so. I think you almost have to at that point.
Yeah. Until then, it's a while.
Yeah, all the fangirls lost their minds when Chase and Ryan announced at the same time that they had girlfriends. They're like, "Did you not know? Like, how did you not know?"
Like, I saw somebody saying that all of the girls on Twitter were so mad that they didn't have a chance with Ryan Blaney now, like they had one to begin with.
Right.
Well, I mean, hey, this is back to Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. You know what I mean?
Chance.
Like, I don't blame him. I'm there.
Yeah, it's always nice to dream. I mean, about a lot of stuff, but yeah, kill people's dreams.
Let's close this thing down. Why don't you tell the folks where they can find you and what's coming up next?
Oh, geez, me?
Yes,
all
sir.
Right. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon Brown WV, because I'm from West Virginia, 2 hours right up the road in the Eastern Panhandle, and I went to West Virginia University. Go Mountaineers! And you can also follow Richmond Raceway Esports on Twitter, and Richmond Raceway, Martinsville Speed. I'm going to go a long ways on this one. You open up a can. Martinsville Speedway, Darlington Raceway, and Richmond Raceway, as well as Racing Virginia. And you can check out the Racing Virginia podcast. Every Monday we'll be talking racing in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Booyah. West Bleepin' Virginia. Yes, I remember the T-shirts.
That is the first time I ever saw that kind of shirt.
Yeah.
West Bleepin' Virginia.
It's funny. We had a funny story. I worked for the school paper at West Virginia, and that we had to edit that out of a big crowd photo on the front page of we had some huge football win, and in this amazing picture right in the middle of it was a West effing Virginia shirt that we had to Photoshop out that somebody caught at the last second. So that was my introduction to that shirt.
Excellent.
All right, we got to do some NASCAR After Dark on that.
Yeah,
when it doesn't matter what we say.
Sherwin, close us out.
All right. Well, you can find me at Pregame Engineer. I'm masquerading again as Daryl Sweetwater III, a.k.a. Andrew Sherwin. You can find me on Instagram at andrewlsherwin.com. And, of course, you can find us on Instagram and on Twitter at PETM Podcast.
That's right. And, as always, I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace at Tailgate Mayor. Find us, PETMpodcast.com, and all the places where you can download your favorite podcast and your least favorite one, if the case may be. Thank y'all for hanging out. We'll be back again next week and having some fun. Y'all have fun watching New Hampshire. See ya. Here we go. That's a wrap, boys. We are still up and live on YouTube, hanging out with folks for the After Dark. But otherwise, that is what's going to be shipped off to iTunes and all the places and blah, blah, blah. So,
all right. Well, we missed one thing that I want to go ahead and to do right now is everybody tip their cap and lift their drink to Maurice Petty.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Maurice Petty. I'll tell you what, poor old Richard's had a heck of a last 12 months or so. Feel for him and the family and everything.
So I apologize for that.
Yeah, all good. I was just saying that Richard and family has had a heck of a last 12 months. I guess some solace in that not necessarily, well, maybe it's sudden, but not, They led a long, full life, and it's something to celebrate and not something to lament.
Yeah, well, Richard's 82, and I think Maurice was older than him. So, yeah, that's. I mean, we're going to start at Brandon. I don't know how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are, but the older you get, the more of your heroes are going to start to wander on into the next thing that's for them. So yeah, but after dark, West fucking Virginia.
Yeah, that's.
I remember the first time we saw that shirt, and then one of our buddies who also is not with us. Shout out to Chris. He showed up at one of our Georgia Tech tailgates with a Georgia fucking Tech shirt on. I was like, that is so awesome.
I think it was the West fucking Virginia. I guess I can say it now. Shirts did so well because it flowed so well. When you read it, da 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 da, like it had the cadence. It was just perfect. So that's why it blew up. It was funny that you guys brought that up because when at the paper, of course, as sports writers, like I was a sports writer there. And the first time you see the shirt as a fan, you're like, hell yeah, man, that's cool as hell. And then you get to the paper and you get this whole other perspective of like, this is this isn't what the school should be about. And like you get both sides of it too. So I guess it depends on how many Vienna lagers or Natty Lights back in the day as you had in your system as how you felt about it.
Right.
Well, it's that lighthearted, like being a college student or still like trying to relive some of those experiences. You're like, where cuss words just didn't seem to matter. I mean, Rusty and I'm sure could atone to this. I mean, I would assume so. I mean, I had professors that used the F word during class. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. We're all adults here. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm a huge George Carlin fan, and that's another funny story. My grandmother bought us all tickets to see him live. I was 14, my little sister was 10, and we went to see George Carlin live in concert. So that's how big of fans we were of him. And yeah, it's all about context and language. It's just language. It's all about how it's used.
Right.
Well, so it's interesting you mentioned that in terms of like the whole comedy perspective, because one of the things that I've tried to do is sort of organize our little crew. The guys, those of us that are still, spend a lot of time around each other that from college are really, really good friends. Even into this advanced sort of adulthood where we're all approaching middle age or whatever we're going to call it.
Oh God.
We've gone to done a lot of comedy stuff together. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things I like to do for my birthday is try to get everybody organized to let's go see a comedy show because it's going to be funny. But we saw Bill Burr record his Black and White special. Like we were at the show where he recorded that special.
Oh, that's awesome.
We went to see Rogan. We went to see Bert Kreischer on my birthday, and we went to see Ali Sadiq on my birthday. And, that's just a big part of what we do, too, that's way away from this NASCAR place where people, a lot of them don't understand the comedy. Like, because, let's be honest, comedians, for the most part, are pretty intelligent people. They say things that you're like, what? What did he say?
you have to be in order to deliver that stuff in that situation. Under that pressure in front of everybody, you have to have a certain level of intelligence, and people don't get that.
Sherwin, there's one of those shows that you could have told me I wasn't there, and I'd have believed you, because so
I'll tell Brandon this.
Went a little deep,
I know that our YouTube watchers, we usually have about 10 or 12 folks that'll stick around for this kind of stuff. Is when we know that we're going to a show where either the actual special is being filmed, which we've only been to one of those. That was Burr's. But if we know that, like, in the next cycle of this set that they're doing is a special, we get so fucked up we don't even remember it. We just laugh so hard the next day we wake up with sore obliques and we go, can't wait for that to come out on Netflix or HBO because I want to see all those jokes again that I don't remember.
Man.
That was yeah.
That's awesome. That's I think the last one that we went to, my girlfriend and I went with another couple, and we saw Steve-O do his comedy
wow.
special.
Shit, yeah. I listen to his podcast.
So he does. It was called the Bucket List Tour, and basically he wraps a stand-up comedy show around these like really fucked up like stunts that he never got to do on Jackass, and tells the story around, and it's phenomenal. It was disgusting, of course, but if you know Jackass, like that's pretty disgusting stuff. But he was amazing. And he stood after the show, took pictures with every single person who came, and cool. Signed shit for him.
Didn't they just announce 4?
Yes, they did.
Jackass 4?
Yes.
I didn't hear that, but that's cool as shit. I'm going to get into another beer real quick.
Have at it.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 is July of next year, I think, is the date they bumped it to.
Man, I can't imagine.
Which I hope they don't try to compete on the same weekend as Top Gun 2.
Oh, that's a good point.
We can talk to Brennan about Top Gun 2, but let's stick with the comedy for just a minute. I'd like to see Steve-O, but Jackass started when I was a sophomore in high school or college, and I didn't know what it was. I just knew that one of our corner mates was like, he already knew that it existed. And I have always struggled with pop culture, particularly as it pertains to MTV. And he's like, y'all got to come here and watch this. This is nuts. And literally it was nuts because the very first episode was dropping pool balls on Steve-O's balls, which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, so Rusty and I and one of our other buddies who we just went to the lake with a couple weekends ago went to see, I want to say it was it 2, Rusty?
It was 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2. And we all had that giant freaking drink they give you at the movie theater, which is like, like if this is a 20-ounce drink,
it's 40 easy.
It's like a 32-ounce drink. And we had more liquor than you could have got 40 tribes of Native Americans drunk with. And none of us finished our drink because we were laughing so hard we didn't even have time to drink it.
Right.
Like
that was
like we couldn't even like take a sip because we would have spit it on the people in front of us. We were laughing so hard.
That was crazy. The ceiling fan bit was 3 seconds long and the funniest thing I had seen up to that point in my life.
It may still be the funniest thing I've ever seen. It didn't happen live, like right in front of us, like something really stupid that we did that somehow nobody died.
Right. Right. Man, what a time.
What a time. So what I was saying while you were getting a beer, Brandon, was I hope that like Jackass 4 has been pushed to midsummer next year.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for them, they might overlap with Top Gun 2.
Oh, God.
So I hope they figure that out the right way so that they don't get screwed on ticket sales. If we're even allowed to go then, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. This COVID situation is changing everything. So you never know. But I have a feeling that that people are going to go see both if they have the opportunity. I know I would.
I'm definitely going to go see both.
So
remember. Go ahead, Rusty.
At the drive-in, everything is a double feature. If they were to double feature that, I'd pay $50.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we'd be down there with a grill at like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
What is the crossover core audience percentage of Top Gun and Jackass?
Oh, I bet that's at least 65%.
Yeah, I can't imagine somebody being all pumped up for 2 and not for 4.
Yeah, well, so I guess what I would say is I think despite the fact that Top Gun came out in 86, which would have been like total like grooved for Gen X, I think it's Gen Y that has actually embraced that movie the most.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And we're also the same generation that has embraced Jackass. Like, we don't care that like weird stuff is happening. I mean,
yeah, look around you, man.
Yeah.
Like what was it, 2.5 that they opened with the weird looking dude taking a dump in the toilet at like a Ace Hardware.
Yeah,
That was
and like people come by, and at the end of the bit, they just got a close up on the turd.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's so funny.
if you remember the bit, they were supposed to do it the day before, 3 days before, or whatever, and he crapped his pants on the way in because he was holding it some like that's how ridiculous. Yeah. Like,
and you remember the devenomed cobra they put in the horse trailer with Bam, and he freaking started crying
because he's ridiculously scared of snakes. Like that's his one thing that is like he doesn't do snakes.
Like
my God,
he's totally scared of snakes, but he put an alligator in his freaking mom's kitchen.
Man,
yeah. There's some of the stuff. I'm not even going to mention some of the stuff like, but just that absolutely made me gag. The one thing that always stuck with me that I can mention was the space helmet that they were farting in, that was making Steve-O puke.
Preston, and he freaking farted in it, and then was it Pontius or no? It was Steve-O. Steve-O yacked inside of it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Remember Steve-O wasn't willing to put the car up his ass, so Ryan Dunn did it instead.
Yeah, just ridiculous. Yeah.
And then they go to the doctor and take an X-ray of it, and he's like, "It's
got a car in your asshole."
Oh man,
those guys are freaking bonkers.
Oh, Can you imagine being a part of that friend group, never knowing what the hell they were going to do to you if you were sleeping near them or otherwise?
I would get over that not get over it. I would be done with it very quickly. You know, like, guys, I just got to get some sleep tonight.
Baseball bats, like, just hanging around, and, like, people would get donged in the head. I mean, the only thing I can even think of that comes even close to the stupid stuff that they did that we might have done to each other when we were teenagers is on the soccer team. Like, we had this little game we would play, and I say it's a game because you mostly didn't know that it was a game until you got involved involuntarily. Was, you know, if you had good enough ball skills, you could rake the ball up to your calf and then swing back and hit it with your heel, and it would be like the perfect trajectory to hit a guy right in the balls. and almost everybody had that happen to them. and that sucks.
And that sucks.
And that is the closest thing we ever got to any of the dumb stuff that they did.
Yeah. We just did general college dumb stuff, but it was never that, like, stuff that you could actually get hurt doing. It was just, you know, getting drunk and passing out in the bushes or something.
Yeah. I think we could have got
Rusty
hurt.
And I would like start construction equipment and like drive it around.
Yeah, we're probably out of the statute of limitations on that one, so I feel good about it.
Hopefully, we've outlasted that.
Yeah, they're not going to dig up some old security footage of you guys sneaking in somewhere.
No, although I did get a call from Georgia Tech parking probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Now I've been out of school now 16 years. So I was out of school at least 10 years, and they called me up about an old parking ticket. And, I mean, I was trying to be nice, and I was nice to them on the phone. They were nice to me and all that. But my firm stance was, you know, come at me, bro. Like, that car doesn't exist. It's in some guy named, Roy in his junkyard right now. Go ahead. Do whatever.
Yeah, we did some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But... A lot of dumb. Yeah, you know, you're in a fraternity with 65 other people that have the same dumb ideas you do.
Oh yeah.
And never mind the fact that everybody in there is a freaking engineer. So like we're like mathematically drawing out these dumb things we're about to do on paper
and then execute.
Like you had the smarts to do really intricate dumb stuff, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's what it is. Really intricate dumb stuff. Plan it out. Have a few beers. Do it. Go on with your day, I guess.
Drive a vehicle of death down a road during the homecoming parade and then get invited by the president to go eat chicken in the suite. Yep. And we're all absolutely hammered because nobody's been to sleep. And that was like the rule. You weren't allowed to sleep. You were getting hammered.
We were
that's just
wind burnt. All of our faces. There's like 5 people with red faces and the president of the university. So good on him. Fellas, I got to get running here. Just shutting this thing down on my side. But it's been a blast, as always.
Yeah, man, this was fun. I'll do whatever. Come on whenever. Talk to me whenever. I don't care. I'll talk racing with you guys.
Right on, man. We'll make sure it's not another 100 episodes.
That's all right. That's I feel absence makes the heart grow fonder.
There you go.
Well, we got to do. I mean, not to shameless plug, but we'd certainly love to do the Virginia thing. If that ever swings its way.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Like maybe sometime when we know for sure we're going to come to one of your tracks.
Yep.
Just pop on and say hey.
Absolutely. Yeah. That'd
be
fun.
I'll say this, especially when COVID's over, which it will be at some point. Hopefully, we're alive for that. But setting you guys up with if there's a midway, having like a spot to do a live podcast or something like that would be really, really cool. I think with all the restrictions that we have right now, it might not be this year.
No, that's fine. Oh, actually, that would be really cool to do like some kind of at-track live sort of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done that stuff before. Rusty can figure it out. I leave that all to him. He's like, damn you. But
nah. I might need to get a new laptop before then because the battery on this might just not like it. But no.
We can use mine as long as you use a satellite keyboard because apparently this laptop that I got for Christmas, the keyboard just doesn't work.
Doesn't like it.
It's funny. Like I barely use this laptop I have here, but I don't have Skype on my work computer, and IT has to install everything on your work computer. It will not go through. So I had to dig out my old laptop that I've had for like 11, 12 years and make sure that it worked so I could do this with you guys today.
Well, it worked great.
Yeah. It's still humming along.
Love it. Fellas, it's been a blast. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. See y'all later. Booyah.